Now, our guest tonight is 24 years old and has just made history. Louis Alexander.
Thanks very much. It was epic, but it was brutal. We've run this year in some incredible places. The Amazon, the Arctic, the deserts, but this was pretty special.
Louis Alexander battled the elements of Antarctica to complete his Running the Seven Continents challenge. That's 7 marathons in the most remote corners of the world. And I'm pleased to say he's back in one piece and joins me in the studio now. So that was freezing rain, cold. I mean, how are you feeling?
I'm good. Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be home, and I think I apologise first of all for this wind burn on my face, but it's good to be home, and yeah, it's good to be speaking to you too.
And you brought your medals with you.
I do, right
Let's
here.
Just have a quick look at those.
So we've got the Antarctic Ice Marathon and the Seven Continents Marathon Club, which is some people call the pinnacle of running. So I'm very honoured to join the club.
And you've also run, haven't you, across Africa, Asia, North America, South America. Which was the toughest?
It's a great question. They've all been very different. The toughest would probably have to be the deserts. So the first continent was started in the desert of northern Africa, hot, humid, got chased by a pack of wild dogs. And then obviously Antarctica, only a few days ago, that's the biggest desert in the world. And that was brutal. You know, high winds, it was -25 with wind chill. And there was one point where the winds were so strong, they were hitting the sides of my stomach. It was almost like a burning sensation. The snow it was sharp like sand. So yeah, there's been huge contrasts in the weather, the wildlife, the people. It's been amazing. And
you must have to train really hard. I mean, those are very different conditions, aren't they? 1 minute you're in extreme heat, the next minute extreme cold. How do you prepare for that?
Absolutely, and my training shifted. It's now about being as injury resistant as possible. So it's not about being the fastest or the strongest. Those who have run with me know I'm not a great runner, but it's about being as injury resistant as possible, because you're absolutely right. If you know, and I ran in the Amazon, I ran on the indigenous land of the Quechua community. You know, you're taking 3 or 4 flights, you're taking a 100-kilometre boat journey, then a canoe just to get there. So by the time you get there, you're already exhausted. And then if I can't run, then I can't deliver on my promise to, in this case, my open letter and to the charity.
Well, I want you to tell us about that, because tell us why you were inspired to do this.
Sure. So I'm running in honour of my grandfather, Captain Rick Taylor. He was affected by dementia. He was diagnosed when he was only 58 years old, and he served in the British Army for 38 years. He served all around the world, but it was his battle against dementia which ended his life. So when I was 19, I had the huge honour of speaking at his funeral, and I made a promise to support this cause, the fight against dementia, until the day we find a cure. And I'm very proud to be keeping that promise. And earlier this year, I also published an open letter to the Prime Minister, so addressing dementia diagnostics in the UK.
I was just going to ask you about that. And you're asking for a particular amount of money, aren't you, just briefly?
We are. So currently 1 in 3 people in England with dementia are never formally diagnosed, which is simply not good enough. So I'm pleading for the government to invest £16 million into improving dementia diagnostics, and that would increase lumbar punctures from 2,000 a year to 20,000. Lumbar punctures are a fast, accurate and reliable way of diagnosing dementia. So it's a big ask, but it's needed, and I think it's deserved.
You've got 10 seconds to tell me what you're going to do next, because I know there is something.
That's a great question. Well, you're absolutely right, and I'm just getting started, and the ultimate goal is to pioneer adventures which have never been done before and have the greatest impact.
OK, well, we wish you all the best of luck. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, how are things shaping up with the weather? Here's Philippa Drew with the forecast.